Most people think financial literacy is knowing the right words. Index funds, APR, compound interest. But you can know all of that and still feel broke. Because financial literacy isn't a vocabulary test. It's the ability to make good money decisions under real-life pressure. When you're tired, when bills hit, when your friends are spending, when your brain wants comfort now. So in this video, I'm going to give you 7 habits that make money feel simpler, because they turn I know into I do. Not theory, not guilt, systems. Quick favor, if you want more videos like this, hit like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs it. And comment, are you trying to build savings, pay off debt, or start investing? What's your main focus? Because the real flex isn't sounding smart about money, it's being free. Habit 1, automate saving and investing. Willpower is not a strategy. It works on perfect weeks, but money is lost on normal weeks. Picture payday hitting on a Friday. You tell yourself you'll be good this month. Then it's dinner with friends, a couple convenience buys, and one random expense you didn't plan for. By Monday, nothing catastrophic happened, but somehow the money already feels spoken for. That's the problem. Leaks don't announce themselves. A late night scroll, a limited time deal, a stressful day that turns into spending. Financially literate people stop negotiating with themselves. They build systems. Automation is simple. Your paycheck hits, and money moves automatically to 2 places. A small emergency fund and a long-term investing account. Not because there's extra, because the system grabs it before lifestyle does. Start small. $25 a week counts. The point isn't the number. The point is the identity. Future you gets paid without debate. Once it's automated, progress becomes boring, which is exactly what you want. But automation won't save you if your spending is random. Habit 2, align spending with your priorities. A budget isn't punishment, it's a spending plan that matches your values, because your bank statement is a mirror. It doesn't show who you wish you were, it shows what you consistently reward. Try this once, write down your top 3 priorities. Just 3. Freedom, family, health, travel, building a business, whatever is real. Now compare that list to the last 30 days of spending. Not to shame yourself, to see the truth. A lot of people say they value freedom, while their money says convenience, impulse, and short-term dopamine. That mismatch is where stress lives. So make it practical. Choose 1 keeper and 1 cutter. A keeper is something that genuinely improves your week, like quality groceries, a gym membership you actually use, or 1 monthly night out you look forward to. A cutter is something you pay for out of habit, subscriptions you forgot, convenience buys that aren't even special, random upgrades that quietly drain you. Cut 1 cutter, then move that exact money into your automation. Now every no becomes a yes to your future. Because when spending aligns with priorities, you don't feel deprived, you feel focused. Habit 3, start investing early. The most expensive sentence in personal finance is, I'll start when I have more money, because the market doesn't reward waiting, it rewards time. Compounding is the snowball effect. At the top of the hill, it looks tiny and pointless, but it's rolling, and time is what turns tiny into serious. Picture 2 people. One starts early with a small monthly amount, the other waits 10 years. 10 years turns into someday. Someday turns into how did I get here? Later, the second person tries to catch up, but they're fighting the one thing money can't buy back, lost time. So start where you are, make it automatic, keep it boring, because the goal isn't a perfect year. It's staying in the game. There will be dips. That's normal. The mistake is turning a temporary drop into a permanent decision. But even if you invest, you can still lose financially, without ever touching the stock market. It happens in everyday spending. Habit 4, know what an hour of your time is worth. Most people look at a price and ask, can I afford this? Financially literate people ask a sharper question. Is this worth the hours of my life? Because money is time. It's mornings. It's commutes. It's energy. So calculate your true hourly rate, not the clean salary number. The real one, after taxes, after commute, after the extra time you spend getting ready, recovering, and being available. Now convert purchases into hours. That $120 impulse buy isn't $120. It's a chunk of your week. And you've probably felt this. You buy it on a Tuesday, it feels good for a moment. And by Wednesday, you're back to the same routine. except now you've got less breathing room than you had before. That small monthly upgrade isn't small, it's a recurring tax on future you. Once you see prices as hours, decisions get sharper. You stop buying things with dollars, you start buying them with your life. And then a new question appears. If time is the real currency, how do you make your time worth more? Habit 5. Invest in skills that increase income. You can only cut so much, but there's no hard limit to earning. That's why financially literate people invest in skills. Skills are assets. You pay once, they pay you back again and again. This can look like negotiation, communication, a technical skill that's in demand, sales, or a certification that qualifies you for higher paying roles. But here's the difference between people who level up and people who just stay busy. Busy people learn, literate people apply. Here's what that looks like in real life. Someone learns one skill, like negotiation, and actually uses it in a real conversation. Even a modest raise shows up every month after that. It's not just more money, it's more margin, more options, more space to breathe. The trick is intention. Don't collect courses. Pick one skill that clearly connects to more income in the next 6 to 12 months, then apply it. Because learning without application is entertainment, and more income creates a new danger, lifestyle creep. People earn more, then upgrade everything, and still feel stuck. Habit 6. Review your money regularly. If you never check your money, you're not financially literate, you're financially hopeful. What you don't measure, you can't improve. So once a month, do a 30-minute money date, same day each month, no distractions. Think about how most people find out they're off track, usually by accident. They open their banking app in a checkout line, their stomach drops, and they promise themselves they'll get serious next month. A monthly money date flips that. You choose the moment you're calm and you're in control, before life forces a lesson. 3 questions. Where did money go? Did saving and investing happen automatically? What's one focus for next month? Not 10. One focus keeps you moving. Maybe it's cutting one leak. Maybe it's negotiating one bill. Maybe it's increasing investing by 1%. Maybe it's building an annual expenses buffer, so surprise costs stop becoming emergencies. To keep it simple, track just 3 numbers during your money date: cash buffer, debt balance, and investing rate. Cash buffer tells you how many weeks of breathing room you actually have. Debt balance tells you whether your past is still charging rent. Investing rate tells you how fast you're buying future freedom. Write those 3 numbers down every month. When one goes the wrong direction, you don't panic. You adjust one lever. Small corrections beat big rescues. But even with systems, focus, investing, skills, and reviews, people still self-sabotage. Not with math, with mindset. Habit 7. Think long-term with money. The modern world trains you to think short-term. One-click purchases, same-day delivery. Buy now, pay later. Everything pulls future joy into the present, then sends consequences back with interest. Financial literacy is resisting that. Not by never spending, by remembering what money is for. Money isn't for status. Money is for options. Picture a random Thursday when the car needs a repair. In the past, that would have meant panic, credit cards, and a month of stress. With options, it's annoying, but it's not a crisis. That's what long-term thinking buys: problems that stay small. The ability to say no to a bad job, to a toxic boss, to a panic decision, to a life you didn't choose. Long-term thinking is how you avoid catastrophic mistakes. Because in money, the winner isn't the person with the flashiest year. It's the person who doesn't blow up, who keeps a buffer, who keeps investing through boring months, who stays in the game. That's get rich slow. And it works, because most wealth is built quietly, then suddenly looks obvious. So here's the real definition of financial literacy. Not information, behavior. Automate your future. Align spending with what you actually value. Invest early even if it's small. See purchases as hours of your life. Build skills that raise your income. Review your money consistently. Think long term, because freedom isn't bought in a weekend, it's built. And here's the image to hold on to. Imagine waking up one random Tuesday and realizing the bill that used to scare you is just a bill. Not because you got lucky, because you built habits, quiet decisions, boring consistency. And one day you look up and your money finally feels calm. Now don't try to do all 7. Pick one, just one. and implement it today. If this helped, hit like, subscribe, and share it with someone who's trying to get their money together. And comment this: which habit are you committing to for the next 30 days? This is Mindcraft, where ideas become action and action becomes your future.